Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, it is another beautiful morning here in the Ozarks. We've been pretty chilly here lately, down in the upper 20s and the teens at night. But we're supposed to hit in the 60s today and have some warm weather for the next few days. So it'll be a nice change before we go back to being winter again. There's a lot of people that believe with all the war talk, because it's everywhere, right? There's just seems like every continent almost, there's some kind of possibility of a future war, or there's actually wars going on. And there's some people that believe that the wars that we will be facing will be more cyber wars than conventional. And I personally think it'll be a mixture of that, but we are in the technological age. And so we're going to be seeing more of that. And I think that's going to catch people off guard more than anything, because the average person, it's not that they don't know how much technology and internet is involved in their life. It's that they don't think about it. They're not aware of it because it's not, in their face all the time. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. Before I get started, I want to mention to you that some of our dearest friends that own Grafted and gracecreations.com make some of the best soaps out there. I think it's the best. It's what I use on my face, my beard. My wife uses it, our whole family. Most of the people in our community use them. They just make some amazing soap, and they're running some specials right now, 20% off if you use promo code TPH. And if you go to their website, I kind of think this is a little silly, but I complied with the request, and we made a list of the soaps that we particularly like to use. So you can see the ones that I prefer. Not that that means anything to you. Who cares? But if you use the promo code TPH, you'll get a discount, and you're helping out a family and a small business, and you're getting a really good quality product. So graftedandgracecreations.com. So in the last few days, there's been a lot of cyber attack stuff, fairly significant. I mean, there's cyber attacks virtually every day. I've seen some of the studies and the charts, the numbers, and if you look at it, there can be hundreds, if not thousands, of cyber attacks every day. But there's some pretty significant ones that's been going on. One of the more popular ones that most of you've probably seen is that there was a water supply system up in Pennsylvania that was attacked and shut down. That's pretty significant. That's infrastructure that is very needed for life. And what would you do if the water supply system in your area was attacked by a cyber attack and shut down? Do you have an alternative, a backup, contingency to how you're going to get water? Because you can't live very long without water. So there's one, and that's a pretty big one, but there's been others. A hospital system up in New Jersey was hit with a cyber attack yesterday, and they were shut down. There's been, a few days ago, there was a cyber attack in Israel, and their 911, they don't call it that, but it's very similar to our 911 system, was shut down in Israel. There was the Space Agency of Japan and the Space Agency of India. Both were hit with a cyber attack and shut down. This stuff is happening, and it's happening on a bigger and broader scale. Now, we could sit here and point fingers to who's doing it, Iranians and Russians and China and our own people, because yes, our own NSA and military do that too. But the point is that this is happening, and it's becoming more prominent, and it's becoming more serious. And you couple that with the fact that so much of our whole world is connected to computers and the internet. This puts us in a very vulnerable position. I mean, we've had cyber attacks on the trucking industry. Now, most of you might think, well, how does that affect trucking? That doesn't stop a truck from running. Well, not yet anyways, but a lot of these new vehicles that they're trying to push out, yeah, you could cyber attack them. But how would that stop it? Well, the logistics, the moving around, the scheduling, all of that kind of stuff can get shut down, and it can make it very difficult to just move, goods around on semis. It's not like it was 10, 20, 30 years ago where, if a computer went down, you'd figure out how to work around it. Now, if the computer goes down, everything stops. Remember back when you'd go to a store and the computers weren't working and the cash register, and well, the person running the store would just do it manually, right? You could even process a credit card manually. I'm old enough to remember that, when it was a piece of paper and a little thing that went across and you could use a credit card. They could figure, currency and coin and, change back manually. Nowadays, that's not the case. You shut the computer down, the whole store is done. It's shut down. And that's the way it is in a lot of industry. And while I'm certainly have absolutely none knowledge of conducting cyber attacks, I understand enough of it to know that it's becoming big business, and it's a huge industry. And now when you add in artificial intelligence, which a lot of these places are doing now, it becomes even a bigger deal, because it becomes easier and more likely to happen. It is the new warfare, and it is happening. And just these two things here in the United States, with the hospital system and the water supply system, those should be wake-up calls. Those should be wake-up calls for you. Try to figure out in your life, what is it in your life that is connected to the internet, that if it was attacked by a cyber attack, would shut down? Your money? Is it in a bank? Well, that's vulnerable. Your utilities. Your utilities come in from a utility company, that's vulnerable. Water supply, if it comes in from some kind of municipal water supply, that's vulnerable. Vehicles can become vulnerable. All kinds of stuff. Security systems. If you have a security system on your home, and cameras and things like that, could become vulnerable. Anything anymore that is connected to the internet, or cellular service or anything like that, could in theory become vulnerable to a cyber attack. And we're at a point now that so much is. Even appliances. My goodness, they're hacking into nanny cams to watch people and children in their homes. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and it's because we've allowed so much of this technology into our homes. And there's good and positive benefits to it, of course, but we also realize, and have to realize, that there's a lot of negative to it. And for you and I, as folks that are prepared, we can't really stop this stuff. There's all kinds of software and services that you can pay that might protect you. But we all know that in the end, that no matter how good a thing is at protecting you, no matter how good the lock is at securing something, there's always someone that can pick that lock. And there's always someone that can hack or break through that firewall. And so my opinion, looking at things through a preparedness lens, is that we should have contingencies that just aren't capable of being hacked, because they're not part of the system. Your water system, where do you get your water? Well, if it's connected to any kind of system that can be hacked, well, then that's vulnerable. And maybe you say, well, we have a well. Well, how is that well powered? Is it powered by the utilities coming through the power lines? Well, that's vulnerable. So now your well is vulnerable. Whatever it is, if you're on some type of medication or medical device, your money, all kinds of things can be vulnerable to cyber attack. And we are in the age where that's going to become more and more prominent. The warfare that's happening, it's almost secondary anymore to the stuff that's going on digitally. And there's so much so that I think most folks like you and I, just like I said, we're not even aware of it. We don't even think about it. We don't think about on a day-to-day basis that we're being tracked, that we're being listened to, that we're being hacked. I hear so many people all the time, making statements like, oh, I'm about ready to get off the internet because I don't want them to start listening to me. Or, oh, I can't. I've decided to stop, participating in something or buying something because I don't want them to track me. Brother, they've been tracking and listening to you for a very long time. Virtually every action that you make online, on your phone, through your bank, through your doctor, medical, pharmaceutical, everything is already being tracked. They already know. And at some point, it could be used against you. In fact, there was an article not that long ago that The CIA is now employing artificial intelligence because they have such a massive amount of data that they've been collecting for years, that it's so much that it's not humanly possible to sift through the data. And that's the problem. You go back with these fusion centers that are all over, and I'm not going to go into what they are. You either know or you don't know. But these fusion centers that are just collecting massive amounts of data, it's to the point now that no human can even figure out anything to do with the data because it's so much. And now they're employing artificial intelligence. And at what point will that artificial intelligence say, oh, well, that Travis, look at all this stuff we found out about him. Look at all this stuff he's doing. He needs to be shut down. He needs to be stopped. Or any one of you, because that's what's eventually going to happen. And we have to be prepared for that. And honestly, you can use other types of technology to prepare for it, but really those become very vulnerable too. And again, my safe fallback place is to always have a contingency to live without any of the technology. What is your plan? Are you capable of doing it? Maybe not all of you are, but the ones that are capable, I would certainly push you and strongly suggest to you that you start developing plans and equipment and skills for the day when you have to pull the plug from you to the system. You've got to pull that plug at some point. And that becomes about the only way to have some kind of safeguard to your vulnerability. And then even that isn't going to be perfect. But I would strongly encourage you to be going through your stuff, going through your home, your life. What is it that is vulnerable, and what is it that's connected? And what can you do to live without the technology that's connected to the system? Because at some point, it's gonna make you vulnerable. At some point, they're gonna come after us all, and we know that. And I don't think that's just a paranoia. I think that's pretty much accepted knowledge now, based on what's happened over the last couple of years. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.